All right, welcome back, everybody, to another edition of the Weekly Wake Up. I'm your host, Jay Teagues, and I have here in studio with me Tom Kiet. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good, man. This is gonna be a badass Monday.
It is going to be a badass Monday. I'm declaring it now. It's officially badass Monday. And today's topic, we're going to talk about how to be more confident, cultivating confidence. Because in order to declare, it's going to be a badass Monday, you have to have some level of self-confidence. And so,
to wear that shirt 100%.
Absolutely. And I feel pretty confident this morning. How about you?
Always confident.
Why is that? Were you always a confident person?
Of course not, dude. You know that.
You got to cultivate it, right? It takes practice to create
it. Unless a parent is brainwashing you and saying you're the best throughout your formative years, you're going to have to cultivate it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we live in a time now where I don't know, the confident. If I were to if there's an index meter on confidence, I would say that people generally feel, you wouldn't necessarily see that on social media, but as I converse with people and talk to people, confidence seems to be eroded. People have a difficult time making eye contact. They're very self-conscious about how they look, their appearance, how when you shake someone's hand, it's not very firm, it's very timid, that you get that cold, clammy handshake. I just sense that by and large, in general, confidence is low. Now, people that are confident, they stand out significantly. And it's an interesting dynamic.
Yeah, big time. I mean, people are going to have confidence in certain things and maybe lack confidence in others. So are we talking about specific, like situational, or are we talking overall?
Well, I think, we can, I think for today, let's talk about maybe like overall confidence. Because there's situations where you can feel confident, but what is that? I think of the confidence competence loop when we talk about situational. The more competence you have in something, you're going to feel confident in that moment because it's what you're passionate about or what you have a lot of knowledge with. Sure. But even people that I know that are very confident in certain things, their general sense of confidence is lacking.
Yeah.
And so, what is confidence? Well, confidence is ultimately, it's a general sense of trust in your ability and control in your life. It could be situational, it could be overall. But today I just kind of want to maybe address the overall confidence that people have.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So I think, confidence is important because it can help you have it can enable your success in your personal, professional level. When you feel more confident, you're going to achieve more. You're going to be able to get more things done, and you're probably ultimately going to just feel better about yourself, which ultimately will make you happier, right? When you're feeling really good and confident, like I don't know, maybe I know when I'm dressed really sharp, I'm going to an event and I feel good about myself and how I look, like it helps my confidence. It makes me feel good. But if I feel like I'm rushed, I spilled coffee in my shirt, I'm maybe going to a meeting where I know that I'm not prepared. Like I feel like my emotional well-being is like, I feel low. I feel like shit. Like I feel so your confidence can affect your mood and how you feel. And I think confidence can ultimately play a motivation or a role in your motivation to get things done in life. If you have a big goal, people that have a higher level of confidence will be able to execute at a higher level. They're going to get more things done. And so there's a myriad of things going on here when we talk about confidence. But those are my thoughts I had.
Okay. Yeah. You can live with a lack of confidence and you can be timid all your life and do nothing. And some people may choose that. And I think that's a really meek existence. I think that's a really weak existence. And you lack confidence because why? Because you're so worried about what people who don't care about you think.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That's all there is to it. If you were to speak in front of let's say you're 35 years old. If you were to speak in front of a group of 15 kids about a topic, would you be nervous? Probably not. You speak in front of a group of Harvard scholars, you're going to be nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Difference. It comes down to confidence. Unless you say, fuck it, I don't care. I just don't care. These Harvard graduates are nothing special. I don't care. I'm just going to be me, and I'm going to own it, and I'm going to say it, and I might stutter, I might stumble, but I just don't care, because they don't really matter. They really don't matter. And then guess what happens? Get confidence. It's a fuck it mentality. Who gives a fuck? There's a good looking girl down the gym. She's working on a piece of equipment. I'm single. I'm not single, by the way. I'm happily married, but I'm just giving the example. And I want to talk to her. I want to, fuck it. I'm just going to do it. I'm going to have the confidence, because what do I have to lose? What's the worst she can say? The worst she can say is no. I don't need to look jacked and be groomed and all that to just take that chance and do it. So I think part of it is just an attitude. Fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway.
I've gotten that way in my life. As I'm sitting here wearing my Crocs, I was just kind of thinking about that. Like, there was a time, and you still hear people like, I'm not wearing Crocs. They look silly. They look dumb. These are the most comfortable pair of shoes that I have. And now I don't care, because I'm confident enough in myself and how I feel about myself that I generally don't care. Now, if I were in my 20s, I was a completely different person. It felt like I cared a lot more about other people's opinions, trying to fit in, because I wasn't confident in myself or who I was. But now that I become more confident in myself, like I don't care. My kids laugh at me like, what are you wearing? Even Lacey, sometimes she's like, what are you wearing today? I'm like, well, I don't care. But then there's other times I'll put on a shirt. I'm like, man, I really just don't like this. And I'm not, and it does affect my confidence just a little bit, but I'll still wear it anyway.
Sure.
So I think that you can graduate at different levels of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, once you say, you know what, I just don't care. Not saying that you don't care about the message or the task at hand. You don't care about the judgment or the opinion of other people. That's
Right.
what I heard from when you described that.
Sure. I mean, when you look bad, you wake up in the morning, you're sick, and you go out. Of course, you might not have the confidence in your appearance because you're run down. But I'm talking about putting your best foot forward, whatever that may be. If somebody doesn't like it, that's not on you. I wouldn't worry about other people's opinions. So, hey, if I put my best foot forward, I'm going to act confidently with whatever tools I've got.
Yeah.
And
I have learned for myself, like, not everyone gets assessed the same level of points when it comes to their opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And that's scalable for every individual person. Like, what is that for people? But some people, like, I just really don't care about their opinion. Someone that doesn't take care of their mindset or their overall health, I'm going to assess them less points than someone that does. and when I started doing that, when I started thinking about like feedback I was getting from family members who I didn't appreciate or just don't value their opinion because they haven't proven themselves to be reliable. When I started to, like, you know what, I'm just not going to listen to that anymore, but I'm going to listen to these people over here. That started to help with some level of confidence versus just listening to everyone and assessing the same level of value to their opinions.
I agree. Totally agree. If you were to meet, I'm going to name three guys. If you were to meet Donald Trump, Bill Clinton, and let's go with Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to meet any three of those guys, what's your confidence level with each of them?
Like, what is my confidence level, like interacting with them?
Having a conversation with any one of them, all three of them.
I think I would feel that's interesting. Interesting group of people, right? Because these are all incredibly confident individuals, whether you like them or not, or whether you like them politically or not. They're all very confident in themselves, right? I look at people as in they all put they put their pants on just like I do in the morning. I would probably feel a little bit like, well, this is some historical figures here. It'd be pretty cool. So I'd probably feel a little nervous, but ultimately I think that I would, I'd be very eager to meet them and have a conversation with them.
Sure. With confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. And look them in the eye and shake them with their hand. I would definitely put my best foot forward, right? Because these are These are remarkable individuals that have achieved a lot, want to make a good first impression. But yeah, I think there'll be a little bit of nerves,
Okay.
but I would feel confident. I could have a conversation with them. I'd be eagerly have a conversation with them. I'm generally curious about people in general.
Oh yeah, my son had a chance to go to the White House, and he was part of the ceremonies as a spectator. What's the Medal of Freedom? What is that again?
It's the highest. It's like the equivalent of the Medal of Honor, if I remember right, for civilians.
All right, so he was there. He was in the White House. He had a chance to meet, of all people, Robert De Niro, Michael Jordan, Ellen DeGeneres, Bill Gates. I've got pictures of all of these, him shaking hands with everybody. Tom Hanks, Robert Redford. I can go on with a list of the medal winners. He didn't talk to all of them. He goes, Dad, you'll be surprised at what these guys are like. He says, Tom Hanks was the nicest guy around. He goes, Michael Jordan was just a dude. He was just a regular guy. He was just a man. I shook hands with him. We talked. He said, it looked like Michael Jordan was awkward in the White House. And that's my son might have been 17 years old at the time. He goes
like awkward like he was like just not confident.
Not confident. He was uncomfortable being there. And it was an interesting phenomenon because that's Michael Jordan. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was there. He goes, Robert De Niro was a mess. And it was really awkward talking to him. And he says, Ellen DeGeneres, he thought she might have been a cool lady. She was a jerk. Right? And he's like, they're just people.
Yeah.
And their confidence levels were varying depending on, it was interesting. It was just very interesting. They all feel that way as well.
People are just people.
People are just people.
It's interesting how we have these, like, we put people on these pedestals and elevate their stature and who they are. But at the end of the day, they're just people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think there's a saying, there's a guy named Maxwell Maltz. He wrote the book Psycho-Cybernetics a long time ago. So former plastic surgeon. So what he said was people would get their surgery, they'd get a nose job, they'd get a tummy tuck, whatever, and they were no more confident after the surgery than they were before the surgery. The surgery, they hoped it would change them, and it didn't. And he said this. He said, don't feel your way into acting a certain way. Act your way into feeling a certain way. I don't feel confident, so I guess I'm not confident. That's not how it works. Act confidently, and you will become confident.
Yeah. The courage, the courage is the act of getting through the situation, right? You might not feel confident, but the act of doing it will develop confidence. So you have to have the courage to take action, and that fear that you have is it's your body state of just heightened level of awareness, right? You're in a situation and you're maybe just on guard, but there's something that your body needs, or it's just giving you a signal essentially. Right. Yeah. And so, yeah, go with it. Just know that that's part of it. So being comfortable with that level of that fear that you're feeling, getting comfortable with that, just knowing that's just simply a signal, and acting on it anyway. Don't let it stop you from doing anything. Yeah, exactly. I think is the difference maker, right? That's what we do in the military. There's a lot of different things that you face. They make you face your fear, whether it's just a variety of things. Maybe it's picking up a rifle for the first time and shooting it. It's kind of a scary act. Or you're throwing a hand grenade, right? I remember going to the hand grenade range. Everyone's like, oh my God, this thing's gonna blow up my hand. And then you go through the act of doing it, and it gives you confidence. So the next time you do it, yeah, you might feel a little bit of fear, like, shit, there's this explosive device in my hand. I'm going to pull the pin. If I don't throw it, it's going to blow up. What if I don't get over the wall? Blah, blah, blah. But the second time you do it, more confidence. When you go to the gas chamber, you put on the mask and they put tear gas in there. The very first time that you do it, it's like, oh my God, how am I going to live through this? You go through it and it's like, shit, it's not so bad. The mask actually works. When I pull the mask off, I'm choking. They have you take the mask off, choke, put it on. Okay. I'm better. Okay. Take it off again. Oh, this feels like shit. Get outside, throw up. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Then the next time you do it, it's like, okay, well, hell, I know my mask is going to work. I'm a little nervous. I don't want to choke on this stuff. It's uncomfortable, but I'm going to survive. Okay. I'm a little scared. Okay. I put the mask on. And every time you do it, then before long, it's like you do it years later, and the guys that have been around for me like, it's no big deal. We're just going to the gas chamber today.
Yeah.
So it's confidence and competence and all these different scenarios. being able to understand that fear is there, giving you a signal, and then dealing with the fear and not letting it paralyze you, I think is ultimately that
Yeah.
repetition. You develop that confidence.
Yeah, and you take a look at that training that you were just talking about. I can take a look at my life and say, all right, I'm going to take 3 or 4 different areas of my life, and I'm going to get competent in a few areas.
Mm-hmm.
You want to build your confidence. If I told you, hey, I'm a very, very good chess player because I practice, I play a lot. Not only that, I'm fluent in Spanish because I've put in a lot of time. And on top of that, I'm very proficient in Taekwondo because I spend an hour or 30 minutes every day doing it. And on top of that, I'm a very good driver because I navigate through tough roads with my vehicle and I've tested my limits.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden I'm competent in 4 areas because I've put in the time, I've put in the work. Anybody can do that, whether it's a language or a skill. Everybody. Ever seen these guys who are you look at them, you're like, that person doesn't look very imposing, but you have no idea that they've spent the last 1.5 years taking Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and you have no idea. And they're walking around with this unique confidence about them. You're like, something about that guy, he shouldn't be this confident. He's put in the work.
Yeah.
He's put in the training. That's available to everybody. Everybody can level up in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different areas. That's part of confidence, the willingness to level up in a particular area or more. What are your thoughts?
I think it's why martial arts are very it's good for that. It's a physical activity. It forces you to get humble because you're going to probably be paired up with someone that's going to be better than you, and they're going to put you in a submissive hold. But once you gain some confidence that, hey, you know what, I can it's that level of, I can defeat anyone. I can walk into a room and I know that I could choke them out if I wanted to. It gives you a level of confidence, right? Like, who's going to mess with you? And
you didn't feel like that coming into the dojo for the first time.
No, you probably feel like it's very intimidating walking in for the first time, right? But through practice and developing that level of competence, you develop the confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it kind of goes, I mean, and as we talk about this, I think just like knowledge is power, right? It's are you growing, or how are you continually improving in all these different areas of your life? You know, are you, and I have become far more confident because of just my constant level of self-improvement through education. And then that's one of the reasons that I put myself in all these endurance events, is because I push my mind and my body beyond what I feel is capable. And by going through that process, you know, being able to ride, I know that I can complete the Dirty Kanza 200. I've done it twice, 200 miles in one day. I can walk into a scenario at work. I'm like, okay, this sucks, but I've had some pretty damn difficult days. I feel that I can navigate through this. It gives me a different level of confidence, even though it might be something completely different. I jumped out of a perfectly good plane twice recently. Faced my fear. I feel pretty damn confident I can do nearly anything.
Yeah.
Facing that fear, I can pretty well do anything, and I can do it with my partner. I can do it with Lacey.
Exactly.
So I think it's important to constantly do those hard things, self-development, and face your fears, and you're going to become more competent in various aspects of life, which is going to give you confidence.
Yeah, I was just going to say, based on along those same lines, there's 2 ways to do it. One way is to do something spectacular. So whether that's jumping in of an airplane, or facing your fears, walking through burning coals, or let's say doing a weight loss journey where you go 90 days and you lose X amount of pounds. That's one way to get confidence. The other way to get confidence is a slower way, but equally as effective, is make some promises to yourself and keep those promises. The reason why you're not confident is because you've broken a lot of those promises. Hey, I'm going to eat well tonight. And then all of a sudden, good intentions go to the waste, and you don't. But when you do follow through, you're like, that's a small win. That's a win in the emotional bank account that I just made a deposit. I said I was going to work out. I did that. I feel good. I said I was going to go to bed on time. I did that. And your confidence grows with these small emotional deposits. So when you do make a withdrawal one day, there are so many good things in that emotional bank account that you're gaining confidence. So that's the other way to do it. You either go all out with something spectacular, or you do the daily promises to yourself. That's huge. That's one way to build confidence.
No, I love you saying that. The 4 agreements have been on my mind a lot lately and come up in conversation. I think about being impeccable with your word. It's probably the most important of the 4 and one of the most difficult. And I still fall short on it, but I'm striving to be my very best to do what I say I'm going to do for myself and for other people. And the more that I hold myself accountable to that, the more confident I become, because if your subconscious keeps score. And if you don't do the things that you say you're going to do, like even when you tell someone you're going to do it, in the back of your mind, you're like, it rattles you a little bit. You're like, man, am I going to follow through with this? Because I've bullshitted my way so many times before. And I used to be a person that didn't do a lot of what it was far probably greater than now. I think I'm in a solid 90s now. I think if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to follow through. I still fall short from time to time, but a far cry from where I was like 20 years ago.
Yeah. But
I'm striving to be better every day at that because it's so important.
But at the same time, Jay, there's a lot of people who they might fall short and then they just decide to, for whatever reason, beat themselves up. It's like, get over it. It's not a big deal. Okay, you messed up. Change it.
Yeah.
Don't dwell on it. It's fine.
Yeah. Don't let it define you.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? The final thing too is I think you got to make an assessment of yourself. Look in the mirror and look at your life and just say, how can I get better? I don't feel confident right now. I look kind of scraggly. I'm unkept, maybe a little overweight. You can make some changes. You can make some changes. And I'll tell you, the person says, well, but I'm obese. You don't understand, Tom. You're a fit guy. You don't understand. I've been carrying this weight forever. Okay, great. You're going to be an inspiration when you take it one day at a time and you lose those 50, 60 pounds. I will tell you this, and not that I do this. If I post something on Facebook looking all jacked as shit, ripped and muscular, and you do before and after, and you take somebody who's 100 pounds overweight, they lost 100 pounds, I might get a few likes and a few disgruntled people. And the person who's lost the weight, man, I love those stories. It's like, good for you, man. Yes, that's inspiring. You get confidence from that. So I think, okay, so what if you're obese? Fix it. And you're going to feel damn good, both physically and emotionally. That's going to help you with confidence. Just because you're obese doesn't mean you can't start. And you don't need to make big changes. You just need to make small, consistent changes. And then gradually you'll build confidence. And people will be looking at you going, doing a great job, keep it up. And that will also bring out some more confidence as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think starting with your health and wellness, it's developing that, the disciplined habits of self-control. It's something that you can see rapidly. Like it's hard to gauge your confidence in a skill, right? But your health and wellness, like as you step on the scale or look in the mirror at yourself, like you can see where you're at in that. And, when you're feeling fit, you're definitely feeling more confident. I don't know of a person that feels that's really fit that's not confident.
Yeah.
If they're happy with themselves.
Sure. Feeling fit is also beyond that. I don't like to look at the surface level necessarily. I like to look at the beyond that is when I see somebody fit, that person's a disciplined person. They keep promises to themselves. They probably eat healthy. They probably have a level of knowledge where, hey, they understand nutrition a little bit. They don't really necessarily want to exercise, but they do it because they know it's an important part of their day. They respect themselves enough to say, my health is important to me. Now, understand, there are people with disorders, addictions. I think everybody's got a food disorder to some degree. Mm-hmm. Everybody has I have a food disorder to some degree. I have to enter things into MyFitnessPal to feel confident with my plan. It's a little bit OCD. My wife finds it very annoying that I have to do this before I eat dinner. Like, man, that's OCD. She doesn't say it because she accepts me for it. Everyone's got a disorder. So there's nothing wrong with admitting that, but doing something about it, there's a level of respect for somebody who is fit beyond appearance.
No, and you know what? I appreciate you saying that because as I look at you, I wouldn't think that you're someone that really struggles with it, right? You're obviously that is very important to you, but I like that you say that I think everyone does have an interesting relationship when it comes to food and diet. Everyone has a challenge with this just due to the abundance of it in our Western culture, and especially now with like the abundance of bad food and how addictive it is with the sugars and everything. I think everyone struggles with that. And
Yeah, yeah, you have no idea how many people do.
yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
I got
I
a
think,
couple other points here to help cultivate some confidence. So,
yeah,
and so, some of the easier said than done. Now, I get that, but you got to start with awareness. So, stop comparing yourself to other people,
yeah,
and stop. And this is a hard one with social media in your face and everyone always putting their best foot forward. You're taking the worst of yourself and comparing it to the best of someone else. That's the comparison trap that will get you in
oh
trouble, and it will erode your confidence like that. Right?
yeah,
We're all on an individual journey, and we're all in different stages of that journey. So if you're drawing comparisons, you are going to erode your confidence. If you're feeling envious of someone else's life, you got to remember of your own strengths and your own successes, because everyone is on a unique journey and you have accomplished a lot. I'll hear this a lot. I'll talk to people. I'm just a stay-at-home mom. I hear that one, and that one's just like, that is such an incredibly difficult job that, okay, so you're not drawing a paycheck from a company. However, what you are engaged in someone's life, you're feeding them, clothing them, taking them to where they need to go. It's like, it's the ultimate act of service and leadership. I think it's incredible. And
you
so when
don't
I hear, oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom,
you don't think a stay-at-home mom should be working?
well, they work their ass off. They're pulling,
Yeah,
they're pulling in multiple 40 hours a week, right?
I gotta tell you, my mom was a stay-at-home mom, because they could back then, and she was one of the best role models. She was beast mode, ultimate respect for her, and I credit her with the person that I am. Now, understand, when things got shitty and she had to go to work because my dad was a bit of a bum, she took that role too. But I am so grateful that she was at home being the rock for the family. And if somebody discounts that, shame on you, because that is the biggest role, is bringing up kids. That is the biggest role. Take a look at the kids in schools nowadays. It's kind of sad where things are going, because the mom isn't around all the time for them because she's out working out of necessity.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think it plays a role in how society is today. I think, some of the challenges that we have now has got to do with, both parents not being as engaged, or even when they are home, the lack of engagement in general, so, but yeah, so ultimately comparing yourself to other people. Second tip, surround yourself with positive people. So who are you hanging out with? Are they the type that are gossiping all the time? Are they negative? Are they have bad opinions? Are they family members that are just squawking about stuff? Family members. There are more family members out there when you're off to take on something new. It seems like when I talk to people, it's like, man, my mom or dad said this, and it's just like, and they have a lot of weight, right? Because they've been involved in your life so much. But man, that negativity can really pull you down, like crabs in a bucket. They can pull you down. So you got to spend time with people that help you and support you and influence you and clap when you win. And so you have the right people around you, because that will affect your confidence. And you mentioned this earlier, taking care of your body, right? When you're fit, you're feeling good, you're managing your stress well, you're sleeping well, you have energy, you feel far more confident. Be kind to yourself, self-compassion, treating yourself with kindness when you make a mistake. We wouldn't talk to our dog the way we talk to ourselves sometimes. I still do this sometimes. I can be pretty harsh on myself sometimes. Lacey does a good job of reminding me, like, what the hell did you say? Like, okay, that's bullshit. Like, yeah, but I think a lot of us do this. We talk to ourselves pretty harshly. If we said some of the things we said to ourselves in the workplace, we'd be fired, right? So be kind to yourself. Give yourself some grace. Practice some positive self-talk. Face your fears. Do things that challenge you. Do things that you're good at. What are your strengths? A book that I appreciate is the Strength Finders. You take a little test or whatever, you find out what your 5 top strengths are, and double down on your strengths. We live in a society where, like, oh, you need to focus on your weaknesses.
Yeah, it's
You need to
ridiculous.
shore them up so they don't become like they don't hold you back. But you need to identify what your strengths are and really double down into those, because you're going to gain that level of competence that's going to enable you to soar. And that's where you're going to get a lot of confidence from. Know when to say no. Say no to activities that zap your energy or confidence. Don't do. We don't want to completely avoid things that make us feel uncomfortable, but things that aren't serving us, right? And then set realistic goals. Start achieving your goals on a consistent basis. In high performance, what we teach is, focus on no more than 3 goals at a time. Accomplish those, see those through, cross the finish line on those, and then you're actually going to start achieving more, as opposed to this broad front approach where you're doing 10 things at once and you're not achieving any of them, or they're all half-ass. So those are just some thoughts for gaining self-confidence.
I like the idea of leveling up with your peers, the people you're around. I like all of them, Jay. I like all of them. I think people really do need to level up if they're serious about making some changes. Rub shoulders with people who are confident, who are encouraging you, who see you for your strengths, because there's a bunch of people who see you for your weaknesses, and they are very, very good with pointing them out, because that's their opportunity to level up. Level up by putting somebody else down. You and I both know that exists everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. So
absolutely. I know that I would not have earned a master's degree had I not been shoulder to shoulder with other people on that same journey, and the expectation of the culture I was in, being a military officer, that you had to earn one. I felt like, oh my gosh, this is so odd. I was so uncomfortable with the thought of that. Just, I don't know what it was. I mean, I grew up very impoverished, and I didn't even think I was going to go to college. So when I earned my bachelor's degree, that was a huge, huge deal for me. But the thought of earning a master's degree, I was like, man, do I really need it? I even tried to talk myself out of it. And I ultimately earned 2 of them. And when I look back at why or how I did that, it was because I was surrounded by a peer group where that was just expected that you do that. Mm-hmm. And you had to hit that metric by a certain point. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to get in there and just do it. And I started talking to people, and I just got, what I realized was it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought. And I gained confidence. I relied on the confidence of just, oh, I lost you. Oh, okay. We're back. Blanked out there for a second, but yeah, your peer group is incredibly powerful. And then as I think about other aspects of my life, for me, being around the right people, joining a mastermind group, getting involved and getting connected with coaches and mentors, people that are focused on their personal growth and development, people that are focused on their health and fitness, I think is incredibly important to my own confidence. And when I'm feeling a lack of confidence, I identify what that fear is, but then I get connected with my group, and they help me, give me that shift in perspective, so I can navigate through that to not feel the fear anymore, if that makes sense. So it's all about the tribe. It's all about the tribe of people you run with.
Yeah, got it.
A significant difference. So yeah. Well, all right. Well, let's talk about this week. My favorite time of the year, or favorite time of the week, is the Do Hard Things weekly winner. So I'm going to share my screen here, and I love this one. If you see my screen here, we got Emma and Emily Morell. They're the children of Brittany and Zach Morell. Brittany, they're both in the Forge Mastermind, and their daughters recently climbed they went on a 12-mile hike together, and climbed, Mount LeConte. They went from Mount LeConte to, they went from Arch Rock to Mount LeConte and then back down. You can see the elevation scope here. And they did it together as a family, which was super cool. They brought the Do Hard Things flags out there, and they just encouraged their kids that they can do hard things. They went on this 12-mile hike up in this mountain out in the Smoky Mountains. And both Emily and, Emma and, it's Emmy and Emily. And they both recently been working really hard on improving their grades. They're getting A's and B's in school, and their parents are incredibly hard. They're doing more things around the house. They're doing things as a family, staying active and fit together. and the entire family is leveling up. I know Zach has been more engaged with the kids, taking them fishing, and they're just more focused on being intentional. And the entire family is working on their personal growth and development. And so this week's winner is Emily and Emma. So
yeah, that's pretty special, man. This is a product of excellent parenting. This is a product of that family tribe that is striving to be better, that's communicating with one another. This is what I call family excellence.
Yes. The whole family. This is a tribe right here. This is a tribe working together. So I kept messing it up. It's Eleanor and Emma. So I nominate you guys this week. Your names are so close together, and my coffee isn't quite kicked in yet. So apologize for that. But we're gonna send you guys some Do Hard Things shirts. So thank you guys for role modeling what a solid family working together looks like. So
yeah, that's beautiful.
All right. Well, is there any other final thoughts on being a badass?
It's just time to step up. Don't play small.
Step it up.
Yeah, that's all there is to it. We have so many tips in this podcast. This will be available to replay, and just take one or two things. Take one or two of Jay's recommendations and just run with it.
Absolutely. And some of the more powerful podcasts that I have, like I'll go back and rewatch them. I earmark them. I put them in my little Evernote file if I need some motivation. So any one of these podcasts that you listen to, tuck it away. Maybe you need to re-listen to it, or any other podcast out there that inspires you. Because when I'm feeling a lack of confidence, one thing I like to play is that Joe Rogan, Be the Hero of Your Own Story. I love that. When I'm feeling a little low, it's about pivoting, right? So getting your mind right. So you have to have those real ritualistic things that you do to improve your confidence. So, but yeah. And wearing a shirt like this, like, hey, I'm a badass. I do hard things, right? I embrace the suck. I do any of the motivational things. Having that little reminder there is also powerful. So
yeah, this podcast can be another piece of information that you listen to, you check it off. I did my daily motivation, or you can, because it comes down to you can take one of the items that was talked about, and you can take action, and you can change everything. And this will be one of the biggest catalysts ever for a change in your life. This freaking podcast, because you decided to do something, or you don't. It's just another podcast.
If you're listening to this podcast, you're obviously someone that values your own personal growth and development, but it really does come with action, because there are a lot of people out there that are consuming a lot of information, and they're very wise as far as their wisdom and knowledge, but they're still lacking execution. They're still lacking the execution bit. So if you need help with that, you need support with execution, you want some support with that, we got 2 coaches right here that you can reach out to. If you've never explored coaching, it's incredibly powerful. The reason that I'm here is because it made such an improvement in my life, gave me such courage and confidence in my life to overcome things, that I decided to become a coach myself. No doubt you've done the same thing. We also have the Forge Mastermind Group, which is a goal-crushing mastermind where you can connect with other people that are on the journey, that are doing life like you. And we all share our struggles and our wins, and we navigate together. But it's that, having that tribe of people where, when you are navigating something, that you can count on for additional support, because that support can be what catapults you to the finish line, to what you want to ultimately achieve. Absolutely. I think the connection and having support of all of those things is probably the greatest amplifier, if you will, to your confidence in achieving things and fulfillment. So, but go to dohardthingsnation.com. If you haven't done so already, make sure that you leave us a review on iTunes, and let us know if you gained any value from this. Let us know. Go to dohardthingsnation.com. You can check us out there. We got events, we got the apparel. You want to get connected in the Forge, go to dohardthingsnation.com. You can reach out to Tom or I. We're here to answer your questions and help you out. In the meantime, keep doing hard things. Tom, any other final words?
That's about it. I'm good.
Be a badass. We'll see you guys. Next episode.